Alright guys, here is my review on Murder on Union Square by Victoria Thompson. If you saw my recent video about series I may or may not finish, this series is in it. This is, I believe, the 21st book in the series. I've read every single book up to this point. I love the series, but it is definitely running out of steam. And when I finished this book, I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to continue with the series. However, there's an author's note at the back that changed my mind, and I'm going to do one more book before I call it quits on the series and see kind of how I feel afterwards. So I'm going to attempt to not be too spoilery, but it's a long series and it's hard to not, because there's kind of a personal story arc in here. It's kind of hard not to spoil a few minor things, a few things in the whole series. So, but again, if you're reading the back of the books on Goodreads, some of this is probably fairly spoiled already. Sarah and Frank are attempting to adopt a little girl that Sarah has been the guardian of for a good portion of the series. And they thought they'd gotten everything taken care of in a previous book, but they didn't. And now there is a new stepping stone. Catherine's legal father, not biological, legal father, is trying to, well, he's not really trying to do anything. He's murdered in this, and Frank is blamed, and they're saying that Frank's motive is that this guy was trying to prevent Frank and Sarah from adopting the kid, and he really isn't. There'd been a discussion about whether Frank should pay him to adopt the child to give up his rights, but the guy really he didn't even want that. His girlfriend was the one pushing for that, and so that really, I can't even say that the dad was trying to prevent the adoption, because he really wasn't. But everybody thinks he is, and that's why they think Frank killed him. So Frank is taken into custody, and, even though he's now wealthy enough that he's never really going to go to prison or anything, he wants to clear his name so that it doesn't affect his business. So they go through the process of solving the mystery like they've done in all 21 books so far. I love this series. The mysteries are kind of so-so, but the character arcs are totally worth it. I thought there was going to be a little bit more to the Catherine story when I heard that we were dealing with her father, but apparently there isn't. And according to the author's note, I kind of got the impression that this was not a book she'd intended to write. One of her readers had written to her regarding the last book involving the Catherine adoption plot and said, hey, there's a problem with how you did things. It wouldn't really work. And I feel like this book was kind of thrown in to be like well, crap, I wasn't really intending in writing this, but now I have this plot hole in my story and I need to go ahead and fix the Catherine situation. And that is the reason that I'm going to continue to give the book or the series one more chance. Is this book, it felt kind of rushed. It felt there was a lot of things that weren't working for me, but part of it could be that it wasn't a fully planned book, and that it was written because she now had to solve a plot hole that she didn't realize that she had. Overall, the series follows Frank and Sarah. Sarah is a midwife, and when we start the series, Frank is a policeman, and they kind of develop a relationship as they solve crimes together. Frank has a son from a previous marriage, and Catherine is Sarah's a child she gets guardianship of pretty early in the series. So, they by this book, it's Frank and Sarah and their two kids, and I do love the characters, but I feel like we're running out of story arc because so many things have been closed, and the ones that are open are ones I don't really care about. So I would be really happy if Victoria Thompson just went ahead and like the next book was the last in the series. Either that or there's like one more potential character arc thing that could happen that would draw me in to read another book. But unless those things happen, the next book will probably be the last one I read. So let's talk about what didn't work. This is, by the way, a 3 out of 5 for me. I love the series, but I'm just kind of over it. I'm just kind of over it. Some of the things that didn't work for me are, and I've heard people say this about the past books, and I didn't notice it in the past books, but I definitely noticed it in this one. And that is that the characters spend a lot of time just retelling each other the facts that they know. And I really felt that in this book. Like, it was a lot of standing around going, here's what we know. And it's like, yes, but I know that. And there's like 5 clues. So I really didn't love that part. Like, there was definitely a lot of going over and over and over, here's what we learned. And they weren't learning a lot of new stuff. Like, I felt like it was really slow to go through new clues. It was a lot of, here's all the old stuff we learned. Now, in fairness, I didn't guess right away who did it, but it was definitely one of the people that I suspected. It wasn't any kind of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was the killer. No, when they said it was Ling and Kay, it was like, there was 2-3 people I suspected. She was one of them, and I probably shouldn't have said her gender, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I didn't love that. Here's the other thing about the series. I loved the Frank and Sarah relationship arc in the series. And that's pretty much been closed. I mean, I feel like they're adopting a child, and there's another book that mentions their honeymoon on the back, so if you've read through the series at all, you know that Frank and Sarah end up together, and they totally should be, and I loved that, and I loved following their character arc. It was amazing, and I totally recommend the series because their arc was awesome. But they're married now, and so we don't have that romance. And so the authors kind of brought in a new couple, and I don't like their romance at all. It's not working for me. The new couple is younger and more immature, and like, they do have some of the Frank and Sarah dynamics as far as the girl is a lot more worldly, and the guy is a little bit old-fashioned, and so he's kind of protective of her, which is cute. And like, that's one of the things that's really cute in the Sarah and Frank story, is like, Sarah's like, a lady shouldn't know those things, and Sarah's like, well, I'm a nurse, I know all kinds of stuff. So it was cute when Sarah and Frank were doing it, but they had a much more older, mature relationship, and the new couple doesn't. They're very young, and they spend the whole book kind of trying to make each other jealous, and I really don't love that. I didn't love all the stuff happening with them. Their romance kind of ruined the book for me, even more than, the slow, repetitive mystery stuff. It was just like, stop. I don't love that you're trying to make him jealous and he's trying to make you jealous, and you're kind of just competing with, do you really like me? Do you not like me? I really like you, but I want to keep you on your toes. Just stop. I don't like it. Yeah, it feels really immature, the new romance. Yeah. And like I said, my biggest issue with this series at this point where we're at is that the mysteries are okay, but they've never been what I've read the series for. Like, I don't want to say they're not quite that good, but they're okay, but that's not why you would read this series. This is a very character-driven series. This is about the characters, and to me, the mystery's always been kind of secondary. Like, I picked it up originally because it is a mystery set in, like, the Victorian, or, like, 1900s America. So it's a really cool historical mystery series, but I would not have gotten sucked into it the way I did, except for the characters. And it's really the character arcs I'm into. And because we've closed so many of them, I'm really struggling to love this book series anymore. I feel like we're done, and I feel like it just they need to close it out. Like, if the writer wants to close these people out and start a new series with the younger couple, I'm not going to follow it, but I feel like that's probably what needs to happen at this point because this series just feels done. Again, there's like one thing that could happen in the next book that is kind of unresolved. It's not really unresolved, but it's a little unresolved. And if it happened, I'd probably continue reading a few more books. But at this point, one more book, and I'm done with the series. And not because it's a bad series. I'm at book 21. Like, that is how good the series is. I have devoted 21 books worth in the series, and I have loved almost all of it. The last few have been a struggle for me, but up until then, I love the series. It is one of my favorite mystery series, but I'm just getting to the point of being done. And I talked about that a little on the video I did of the series I may not continue. So this one gets a pass because, like I said, the writer did leave that note saying, hey, I screwed up. I had a plot hole I had to fix. So I'm hoping that this book was just kind of rushed and not as good because she hadn't planned on it. And like, she was fixing a plot hole, and now we can maybe get the really good stuff in the next book is what I'm hoping. If not, I'm done. But I do overall recommend this series, but start at book 1. Start at book 1. It is an amazing, great series, but you really need to read it all the way through. So start at book 1 if you haven't. If you like mysteries, if you like historical, this is a great, great character-driven series. It's amazing. But we're starting to dry out a little bit as we get further on. But up until like the late teens, early 20s of this book, it is definitely, well, this is 21, so really early 20s. It's a good series. I'm still enjoying it. It's not what it was. And I think that's what's making me sad. But it's definitely worth picking up and reading as far as you can go in the series. So, all right, guys, my social media is below. Like, subscribe, share if you know any mystery readers who might be interested. And I will catch y'all next time. Bye.